On the day of production, I discovered that my concubine, Lin Wanwan, had exchanged her child with mine. I rewarded the midwife, who was privy to this secret, with 3,000 taels of silver to ensure her silence. The son of my concubine flourished under my care as the legitimate heir of the noble house, receiving tremendous support from the family. By the age of 18, he excelled in his studies, achieving the rank of the third highest in the imperial examinations, and possessed an air of elegance that garnered the favor of the emperor. In stark contrast, my own son was subjected to daily abuse at the hands of Lin Wanwan, enduring harsh treatment even in matters of sustenance, resulting in his frail and diminutive stature. He was deliberately lured to gambling dens and places of ill repute, acquiring a host of vices, and by the tender age of 18, he was marked with the punishment of a tattoo for his misdeeds. On the day of the heir's official conferment, Lin Wanwan confronted the successful scholar at the gate of the Marquis residence, tears streaming down her face. "My stolen son, I am your wretched biological mother," I smiled serenely, with an air of indifference. "Lin Wanwan, I have awaited your arrival for quite some time." Upon hearing the words, Lin Wanwan's eyes flickered with a hint of bewilderment, yet she showed no inclination to release her hold on Yan Lin. "My son, did you hear that? This contemptible woman has confessed that I am your true mother." Under the scrutinizing gaze of the crowd, this once dashing and elegant scholar found himself in an uncharacteristically disheveled predicament. He attempted to push Lin Wanwan away, but upon noticing her distress, which escalated into heart-wrenching sobs, he hesitated. "My son has finally achieved success, yet he cannot even recognize his own mother." Yan Lin, born into a noble family, was accustomed to mingling with the elite and had never encountered such brazen obstinacy. He could not help but cast a pleading glance in my direction. "Mother, what is happening?" It was unbearable to witness the child I had nurtured for 18 years subjected to such humiliation. I interjected to defuse the situation. "If there are matters to discuss, let us do so within the confines of the Marquis. If you wish to ruin Yan Lin's reputation and future here today, then by all means, make a scene." Today marked Yan Lin's formal elevation to the title of heir apparent, with even his aunt, the esteemed Yan Guifei, set to accompany the emperor for a familial visit. Who does not know that Yan Guifei has been favored above all for over a decade, even earning the respect of the empress? Should misfortune befall us on such an auspicious day, it would be a grave disrespect. Lin Wanwan evidently hesitated to step into the Marquis, recognizing that the gathered crowd was her strongest ally. Yet, upon glancing at Yan Lin, her resolve faltered. She was clearly reluctant to jeopardize her son's promising future. Yan Lin, noticing Lin Wanwan's reluctance to let go, displayed a hint of irritation, though his refined upbringing restrained him from outrightly dismissing her. Lin Wanwan, however, was provoked by his demeanor. "You have achieved success now, but must you truly deny your own mother? They say that the mother of a government official is bestowed with titles and honors, basking in glory." At last, Yan Lin could no longer contain himself. He forcefully broke free from Lin Wanwan's grasp, suppressing his anger as he stated, "Madam, please conduct yourself with dignity. I have but one mother, and that is the Lady of Anping Marquis." Lin Wanwan, caught off guard, stumbled and struck her forehead against a nearby stone lion, instantly marring her appearance. Enraged, she pointed an accusatory finger at Yan Lin, shouting, "You ungrateful child! Today, I shall reveal that years ago, I bribed the midwife to switch the child born to that wretched woman with my own, and you, my son, are the fruit of my labor after 10 months of pregnancy." Lin Wanwan then dragged forth a young man with tattoos and an unseemly demeanor from the crowd. This was the legitimate eldest son of the Marquis, Yan Ping. Reluctant to be seen, Yan Ping squirmed slightly, but succumbed after Lin Wanwan pinched him. He was frail and diminutive, clearly having gone hungry. Standing beside the same-aged Yan Lin, he appeared as a mere child. One was a graceful, accomplished scholar, the other a cringing criminal. The contrast was stark. Passers-by began to murmur. "His face bears tattoos from punishment? Is this a thief? What sort of madwoman is this, dragging a criminal forth and claiming him to be the heir of the Marquis?" Yan Ping, hearing these comments, wore a sullen expression and attempted to hide. But Lin Wanwan clung to him fiercely. His embarrassment was palpable, akin to a rat that had never before seen the light of day. No one believed Lin Wanwan, except for me. After years of whispering in her ear, She had finally mustered the audacity to demand a child swap. 2. The Marquise being of high standing, boasts deep courtyards. Had it not been for my deliberate indulgence, Lin Wanwan would never have succeeded in switching the two children. When she first took the child, Yan Hongcheng would often visit her, pleased to have a son. However, as Lin Wanwan intentionally raised Yan Ping to be utterly mediocre and as her own youth faded, Yan Hongcheng gradually ceased his visits, merely providing a monthly allowance. Following that, Lin Wanwan's harsh treatment of Yan Ping intensified, often resorting to beatings and scoldings. She forbade him from studying and deliberately led him to associate with unsavory characters, enticing him into vice. The meager monthly stipend from Yan Hongcheng was insufficient for his indulgences, compelling him to resort to theft. By the age of 15, he was convicted of larceny and subjected to punishment. Now, as I observed Yan Ping before me, he had indeed become the waste Lin Wanwan had wished for. Yan Lin, disbelieving Lin Wanwan's ludicrous claims, immediately reached for the guards. Naturally, Lin Wanwan resisted, struggling while weeping profusely about the Marquisite's bullying. Just then, Anping Marquis Yan Hongcheng returned from court and, upon witnessing the commotion at the gate, his expression darkened. Upon seeing Yan Hongcheng, Lin Wanwan's tone softened considerably. "My lord, I have been alone in an empty room for 3 years, yet you have delayed in visiting me. Have you grown weary of me?" Yan Hongcheng stared at Lin Wanwan for a moment before recalling her identity. Always concerned with his reputation, he glanced at the crowd gathered at the Marquisite's entrance, commanding that Lin Wanwan be brought inside. As the small door slowly closed, Yan Hongcheng's expression abruptly changed. He spun around with swift decisiveness and delivered a resounding slap across my cheek. The force was so great that I staggered back several paces, a vivid red mark instantly blooming on my face, stinging with pain. Yan Lin, the first to react, rushed over to steady me, his voice laced with fury. "Father, why do you harm Mother?" Initially, Lin Wanwan had a look of schadenfreude upon witnessing my punishment, but upon seeing Yan Lin's anxious expression, her eyes darkened with malice. At that moment, Yan Hongcheng let out a cold laugh. "Lin Wanwan is being unreasonable. Zhao Ning, as the mistress of the Marquise, do you share in her folly? She has come demanding a title, and you grant her one. Today is the day of the esteemed Guifei's family visit, an occasion meticulously prepared for. How can you mishandle such trivial matters and still claim the right to be the mother of the heir?" It seemed that Yan Hongcheng regarded Lin Wanwan as merely one seeking a title. Yan Lin's reaction, however, was more pronounced than mine, his face reflecting indignation. "It is clearly Lin's fault, yet father blames mother. Is this not an egregious bias?" 3. Though the bond between Yan Hongcheng and I has grown tenuous over the years, he has always maintained a facade of respect towards me. For many years, in a bid to project the image of marital harmony, he has refrained from taking any concubines. It is said that children raised in an environment filled with parental affection will thrive. Now that Yan Lin has come of age and achieved academic success, he is disinclined to continue with the pretense. Yan Hongcheng's demeanor was frigid. Regardless of who is at fault, Zhao's handling of the situation today is inappropriate. Lin Wanwan could not suppress a triumphant smile. "My lord, do you truly intend to grant me a title? I have waited 18 years, akin to the forlorn Shui Baochai. And now, at last, the clouds part and the moon shines bright. Yet, for your sake, I would wait an eternity." Lin Wanwan's submissive and sycophantic demeanor evidently pleased Yan Hongcheng immensely. A slight smile played at the corners of his mouth. "How you regard me, I have seen. Granting you a title is no trouble at all." I covered my face, concealing the swelling and hiding a smirk at the corner of my lips. "As the Lord wishes. Let it be the position of a favored concubine for Lin." Yan Hongcheng, resolute in his intention to provoke me, continued to pose challenges. "That is too low. Let her be treated as a secondary wife." Lin Wanwan, aware that she was merely one of Yan Hongcheng's many mistresses and knowing his preference to keep concubines at bay, had long ceased to harbor hopes of entering the household. Initially aiming to reclaim her child, she was unexpectedly delighted by this turn of events. Immediately, she adopted a subservient posture, bowing to me. "Sister, I shall pay my respects first, and I hope you will look after me in the future." Observing the gleam of triumph in her eyes, I gently patted Yan Lin's hand in reassurance before addressing Yan Hongcheng. "A thriving household is indeed a blessing. When Yan Ping is included in the family register, will he be ranked as the second son of the Yan family? Yan Hongcheng, following my gaze to the corner where Yan Ping stood, inquired, puzzled. Yan Ping? Lin Wanwan's expression shifted slightly. My lord, you have been away for too long. In the blink of an eye, Pinger is already 18. Yan Hongcheng finally recalled that he had such a significant son outside. Yet his gaze fell upon the tattoo adorning Yan Ping's face, igniting an uncontrollable fury within him. What is the meaning of that tattoo on your face? Lin Wanwan, have you raised the child to such a state? Lin Wanwan, perceiving Yan Hongcheng's wrath, instinctively recoiled, her lips trembling with unspoken words. I attempted to mediate, suggesting, youth is often impulsive, and without a father's guidance, it is only natural for them to err. Yan Hongcheng pressed his fingers to his forehead, his temper slightly abating as he beheld the dashing Yan Lin beside him, the pride of his lineage. In a commanding tone, Yan Hongcheng declared, there is no need to include him in the family register. A son born of a concubine does not merit such honor. It was evident to all present that Yan Hongcheng harbored a profound disdain for the son. Yet Lin Wanwan was unwilling to concede the status of a side consort so readily. As Yan Hongcheng prepared to leave in a huff, Lin Wanwan hastily knelt at his feet, tugging at his garments with a pitiful demeanor. Cheng Lang, there is a matter I must confess to you. However, Yan Hongcheng brusquely shoved her away, exclaiming, I have already given you face. Summon someone to escort her to the back courtyard. The favored concubine and the emperor were expected to arrive in the afternoon for Yan Lin's ceremony, and he insisted that everything must proceed flawlessly. Yan Hongcheng held this sister in high regard, as the once extravagant marquis now relied heavily on the unwavering favor of this esteemed concubine. In haste to change his attire, I instructed the servants to take Lin Wanwan and Yan Ping to the back courtyard. Lin Wanwan's discontent with her status prompted further outbursts. I feigned a warning, stating, today, we have distinguished guests. Though they are of amiable nature, they will not tolerate your unreasonable behavior. Consider the consequences carefully. Despite shrinking back at my words, Lin Wanwan's eyes darted around, plotting her next move. I chose to ignore her and continued preparing for the day's events. Although the ceremony was for the heir's elevation, the extravagance was entirely in accordance with the concubine's preferences. In the afternoon, a grand procession arrived at the main entrance. The emperor assisted the resplendent Yan Guifei from her carriage, a gesture that bestowed great honor upon her. Accompanying a familial visit was indeed a significant privilege. Though Yan Guifei was nearing middle age, her years of indulgent living rendered her as breathtaking as a youthful maiden. Time had left no mark upon this beauty. Instead, it seemed to enhance her allure. Every gesture she made exuded grace, and her voice was soft and enchanting. It is merely a visit home. There is no need for such extravagance. Her gaze swept across the assembly, softening as it settled upon Yan Lin. In the blink of an eye, my dear Liner has grown so much. Yan Lin, impeccably courteous, expressed his gratitude. For all these years, I must extend my deepest thanks to you, esteemed concubine. With feigned annoyance, Yan Guifei replied, as we are family, there is no need for such formality. Yan Lin readily acquiesced. Aunt, I have specially planted a patch of way purple peonies in the back courtyard for you. You must come and see. I smiled, knowing that the idea of planting the peonies was mine, and observing the delight on Yan Guifei's face confirmed its merit. The emperor, witnessing the closeness between Yan Guifei and Yan Lin, remarked with a knowing smile, way purple peonies are delicate and difficult to nurture. It is no wonder you were chosen as the top scholar, for you are indeed thoughtful. Yan Guifei seized the opportunity to charm the emperor, saying, Liner is the only son of my elder brother. Your majesty must not send him to some foul place. I believe a minor position within the 6 ministries would suffice. Such words, spoken publicly, bordered on impertinence. The emperor did not immediately acquiesce, but refrained from outright refusal. As the group laughed and chatted amiably, a mournful cry emanated from behind a rockery in the back courtyard. The concubine halted, frowning. Who is hiding here weeping? Clad in somber attire, Lin Wanwan emerged from behind the rockery, her expression one of despair. With anguished tones, she lamented, the son of a marquis, the mother a commoner, toiling endlessly, forever in the company of death. The heavens are unjust. 2 esteemed nobles, wise beyond measure, I implore you to champion my cause." Yan Hongqing's brow furrowed, and in the next moment, he cast a fierce glare at me, evidently blaming me for this incident. Yan Guifei raised an eyebrow, exchanging a glance with the emperor, before slowly stating, "What injustice do you speak of? Speak plainly, and my palace and the emperor shall ensure your grievances are addressed." Seeing the concubine and the emperor's unexpectedly approachable demeanor, Lin Wanwan became ecstatic, bowing her head repeatedly before pointing at me, declaring, "Today, I shall accuse the marquis's wife." Yan Guifei's interest peaked, her smile becoming more genuine. "What do you accuse her of?" Lin Wanwan articulated each word with fervor. "Years ago, the marquis's wife took away my child, raising him under her name. How could she possibly bear a child as remarkable as Yan Lin?" The smile on Yan Guifei's face abruptly froze, and only when the emperor looked at her in confusion did she manage a strained smile, repeating, "What did you just say?" When Lin Wanwan resolutely reiterated her claim, I struggled to suppress a smirk. Lin Wanwan, having come from a humble background, knew that being assertive was essential for gaining advantages. Yet she remained oblivious to the fact that within noble households, the most benevolent facades often concealed the most ruthless of tactics. It was tragic that she was oblivious to the impending doom she faced. With tears streaming down her face, Lin Wanwan cried out, "Linner is truly the child of my lord and me. No matter how the madam may twist the truth, I shall accept it." While the assembly was taken aback by this unexpected revelation, only Yan Hongqing scoffed at her words. "Linner is your child. What a deluded fantasy. Do not speak such nonsense. Linner is beyond your reach." Yan Hongqing ordered the servants to remove her, but Yan Guifei intervened. Lin Wanwan closed her eyes, steeling herself. And with a fervent determination to reveal everything, she spoke, "I remember, Linner has a birthmark the size of a copper coin on his lower back." Yan Lin's complexion paled as he looked at me helplessly. Lin Wanwan, seeing his reluctance to acknowledge her, rushed forward to embrace Yan Lin's waist, exclaiming, "I would never mistake it. If my lord does not believe me, just take a look." Noble sons placed great importance on their appearance, and Yan Lin, being a grown man, easily freed himself from Lin Wanwan's desperate grasp. Yan Hongqing, watching his son adjust his attire, scolded Lin Wanwan, "What madness is this? Were it not for the time you spent with me, you would not even deserve to be a concubine today." Yan Hongqing was nearly driven to madness. With both esteemed guests present, he hoped to enhance his reputation before the emperor, facilitating future promotions. Lin Wanwan's disgraceful display had humiliated him thoroughly, jeopardizing his standing in the emperor's eyes, as well as his favor with Yan Guifei. After a long silence, the emperor finally spoke. What mother would abandon her own child? A newborn offers no discernible qualities. If you do not speak the truth, I shall have you executed before everyone here. The emperor's imposing presence instilled fear in ordinary ministers, let alone Lin Wanwan. She trembled slightly and confessed, "It was this foolish servant who, in a moment of confusion, sought to provide a better life for my child by switching them. But now, I truly regret my actions and wish to reclaim my child." The emperor remained impassive, still questioning. In a household of such standing, there were numerous attendants present during the birth. How could you possibly have switched the children? Lin Wanwan's eyes brightened with inspiration. "Indeed, Your Highness. My lord, the midwives from that day still reside in the capital. If we summon them, the truth will be revealed." Yan Hongqing glanced at Yan Guifei, but she remained cold and unyielding, showing no intention of pursuing Lin Wanwan's suggestion. She simply did not believe such absurdity and was unwilling to entertain the possibility. Her nephew is the most astonishing young gentleman in the capital, favored by the emperor and supported by a noble family with a future that knows no bounds. How could Lin Wanwan possibly deserve to be the mother of Yan Lin? Yet, Yan Lin's expression is one of despondency, for indeed, there is a birthmark on his waist. But how did Lin Wanwan come to know of it? The emperor spoke slowly. "Today, I intended to confer the title of heir to the noble family's eldest son. But now that Yan Lin's origins are unclear, I cannot hastily bestow such an honor. Besides, this could become a lifelong blemish for him, a weapon for political adversaries to wield against him in the future. It would be better to heed this woman's words and summon those two midwives for questioning." I concurred. "Your Majesty speaks wisely. I firmly believe that Yan Lin is indeed my son, for on the day of his birth, It was the noble lord himself who guarded the delivery room. How could there be any mistake? Yan Hongqing and Yan Guifei exchanged glances, their furrowed brows beginning to ease. Upon witnessing our attitudes, Yan Lin also breathed a sigh of relief regarding his ambiguous lineage. As soon as the midwives entered, Lin Wanwan could hardly contain herself and rushed to inquire, "Was it not I who gave each of you 500 taels of silver to switch the noble family's legitimate son with my child?" The two midwives hesitated for a moment, then turned their gaze towards me. Lin Wanwan urged, "Why do you look at her? Just recount the events of that year in detail. I would become the mother of the top scholar in the future, and would not treat you poorly." The midwives, understanding my unspoken signal, began to narrate the events in the delivery room, their accounts coherent and credible, conveniently omitting that I had also rewarded them with banknotes. Yan Hongqing's expression grew darker with each word, while Yan Lin's face paled further. Upon hearing the midwives, Yan Hongqing struck his fist against a nearby pillar. "Muminjlate." The back of his hand bore a bruise, yet he remained oblivious. Yan Lin, with a pale visage, turned to me and asked, "Mother, could it be that I am truly not your biological child?" A flicker of struggle appeared in my eyes. 18 years of maternal bond transcends mere blood relation. From his first babbling to his eloquent expressions, from his unsteady steps as a child to his remarkable poise as a young man, how could there be no feelings? Moreover, Yan Lin has always been filial, personally organizing and preparing gifts for my birthdays without delegating to others. Observing Yan Lin's reaction, Lin Wanwan, consumed by jealousy, declared, "She is certainly not your mother. Have you not noticed how much you resemble me?" The crowd's gaze shifted back and forth between Yan Lin and Lin Wanwan. Although Lin Wanwan had aged, her beauty still shone through. Otherwise, how could Yan Hongqing have taken her as his treasured concubine in the past? In this light, it was indeed evident that Yan Lin bore some resemblance to Lin Wanwan. Sensing the shared looks among the crowd, Lin Wanwan triumphantly asserted, "Sons take after their mothers. There can be no mistake." Yan Guifei murmured, "Sons take after their mothers?" Suddenly, as if recalling something, she sharply questioned, "If Yan Lin is your child, then where is the noble lady's child?" At her words, Lin Wanwan stepped towards the rockery and pulled forth the timid Yan Ping. Yan Ping is the son of the noble lady. Yan Ping's demeanor was cold and indifferent, seemingly unaffected by his identity as the legitimate son of a noble family. Yan Hongqing swiftly approached Yan Ping, covering the tattooed part of his body with his injured hand. At a glance, it became apparent that Yan Ping bore a closer resemblance to Yan Hongqing than Yan Lin did to Lin Wanwan. Moreover, upon deliberate comparison, Yan Lin strikingly resembled Lin Wanwan. Yan Guifei's gaze fixed upon Yan Ping's face, her eyes filled with affection and sorrow as if she were peering through him at someone else. When Yan Hongqing's hand first touched Yan Ping's face, he instinctively flinched, but upon realizing Yan Hongqing meant him no harm, he still awkwardly recoiled. Yan Hongqing, noticing the estrangement from this son he had not seen in years, displayed a pained expression. A man who has always adhered to the principle that a man does not shed tears lightly was now on the verge of weeping. He embraced Yan Ping, crying inconsolably, "My dear child, you have suffered so much outside." For the first time, Yan Guifei regarded me directly, then forced a smile, saying, "Upon closer inspection, this child bears a striking resemblance to the noble lady." The emperor observed Yan Ping closely, then remarked, "Not only does he resemble his mother, but he also bears some likeness to you, his aunt." Yan Guifei's response was flawless. "My brother and I have always shared similar features. If he resembles my brother, he naturally shares some resemblance with me as well." Yan Ping appeared unaccustomed to such intimacy and turned his face away, awkwardly stating, "Does my father not despise me?" Such words elicited a more profound reaction from Yan Guifei than from Yan Hongqing. Her tear-filled eyes remained fixed on Yan Ping's face, even though it bore an unsightly tattoo of the character for thief. Her voice was hoarse. "No one will ever despise you. You must have endured much hardship over the years, haven't you? Your name is Pinga? From now on, you shall be the heir of the noble family, and no one shall dare belittle you." Lin Wanwan, witnessing Yan Hongqing's reaction, felt as though struck by lightning. She could not comprehend how immense the difference between a legitimate and an illegitimate child could be. It was evident to any discerning observer who should be chosen between Yan Lin and Yan Ping. Moreover, in a family that excels at weighing advantages and disadvantages, How could they so readily abandon the heir they had nurtured for over a decade? Yan Lin's form also swayed unsteadily, his voice hoarse. Mother, could it be that he is truly your biological son? Yan Lin scrutinized Yan Ping carefully, his expression dazed. He does not resemble you at all. Yan Guifei, who had previously regarded Yan Lin as her own, now shot him a look full of venom. She promptly petitioned the emperor. Lin Wanwan and Yan Lin had deceived everyone, resulting in the noble family's legitimate heir being cast out and suffering torment. I implore your majesty to adjudicate on behalf of me and my sister-in-law. The emperor, appearing puzzled, inquired, can we hastily determine the identities of these two children based solely on their appearances and the midwife's testimonies? Yan Guifei, with tears streaming down her face, insisted. Blood ties are undeniable. The moment I laid eyes on Pinger, I knew he was my long-lost nephew. The emperor's profound gaze locked onto Yan Guifei until she awkwardly averted her eyes and asked, why do you look at me so intently, your majesty? The emperor replied with a weighty implication, I merely find the concept of blood relations exceedingly fascinating. How would you like to handle these two? Yan Guifei's eyes brimmed with hatred as she glared at Lin Wanwan. Lin Wanwan, a mere commoner, has audaciously tampered with the bloodline of the noble family, leading to such a tragic outcome. Even a death sentence would be too lenient. Yan Lin has usurped the life of the true heir for over a decade. His crimes are grievous, and he deserves to die. This noble lady seemed to have entirely forgotten that upon entering, she had regarded Yan Lin as her own. Her current attitude starkly contrasted with her earlier sentiments. I spoke up in defense of Yan Lin. He was unaware of the truth and is merely a victim of fate. How innocent he is. Regardless, he is still the offspring of the noble lord, a son of the noble family. Yan Lin cast a grateful glance in my direction, then turned to the emperor, bowing respectfully. Regarding my origins, I truly know nothing, only awakening to the truth today. However, no matter the outcome, I shall remain grateful for your majesty's grace, and heed your judgment. The emperor chuckled lightly, as expected of the scholar I have personally appointed. He surveyed the room and stated solemnly, why are you all standing here in a daze? You shall miss the auspicious time for the conferral ceremony. Upon hearing this, Yan Guifei approached Yan Ping, her face filled with compassion. Pinger, once you become the heir, I will make it up to you doubly. Yan Ping's previously lowered gaze finally flickered with emotion as he inquired, anything at all? Lin Wanwan, witnessing the situation unfold contrary to her expectations, grew increasingly anxious. How could she have anticipated that the remarkable Yan Lin would be so completely forsaken, while the boy she had so tightly controlled, Yan Ping, would suddenly ascend to greatness? Lin Wanwan approached Yan Ping with a sycophantic demeanor, leaning closer to him. Pinger, it is said that the gratitude from raising a child surpasses that of giving birth. Now that you have become the heir of the noble house, you must not forget to show filial piety to your mother. Yan Guifei had never encountered someone as shameless as Lin Wanwan and immediately rebuked her. You have committed a grave sin, utterly ruining Pinga's chance for a prosperous life. And yet you dare to seek connections here. Seize her. Execute her immediately. Witnessing Lin Wanwan, whom he had once feared, being taken away by the attendants of Yan Guifei, Yan Ping began to comprehend the gravity of the situation. Observing Lin Wanwan's cries of despair, a slight smirk curled at the corner of his mouth. As the heir, how can you claim to be my mother? Yan Ping cautiously directed his gaze towards me. It is the noble lady of the house who should be considered my mother. Before I could respond, the emperor interjected, the heir I wish to confer is solely Yan Lin. Yan Guifei's smile faltered momentarily, but she quickly regained her composure and stated, Yan Lin has enjoyed a life of luxury for many years. What harm is there in passing the title to Pinger? The emperor, usually affable, suddenly turned cold. Yan Lin is at least the legitimate offspring of the Anping Marquis. What of Yan Ping? Yan Guifei's complexion drained of color as she exclaimed, what do you mean? Your Majesty? The emperor gazed at the woman he had cherished for years, disappointment evident in his eyes. You know precisely what I am referring to. Women in the palace are typically shrewd, especially one as favored as Yan Guifei, who remained composed and replied, if your majesty is dissatisfied with this arrangement, then let it be as you wish. Liner has been raised under your watchful eye. I assume you would not wish to part with him. Before she could finish, the emperor took the initiative and confronted her. At this moment, the hall had been cleared, and the emperor grasped Yan Guifei's chin, his voice low and threatening. Who is Yan Ping's mother? The emperor's grip was powerful, leaving 2 red marks on Yan Guifei's fair complexion. Having been indulged since entering the palace, she had never encountered such treatment. Realizing the emperor's fury, tears streamed down her face as she desperately sought sympathy, uttering, "Your Majesty, what do you mean by this? Yan Lin is an illegitimate child, thus Yan Ping must be the legitimate offspring of the Marquis's wife." After a long silence, I spoke softly, "Your Highness, you seem to have misremembered. I have never borne a son. Your Majesty, I must accuse the Anping Marquis and the Yan family of colluding to cause my daughter's death." Like a long-dormant beast about to emerge, we had awaited this moment for far too long. Yan Guifei, realizing my intent, turned and berated Yan Hongqing, "You useless wretch. Can you not even manage a woman?" Yan Hongqing, disregarding decorum, attempted to intervene but was stopped by the emperor's guards. I, seemingly detached, fell into recollection as I recounted past events. Beside me, Yan Ping's admiration for his biological mother gradually faded as I narrated. As my words fell silent, the emperor turned to Yan Guifei, asking, "Yan Jiehua, do you have anything further to say? Shall I lay the gathered evidence before you for your acknowledgement?" Seeing the situation was irreparable, Yan Guifei shrieked, "Yes, Yan Ping is my child. So what? That was before I met your Majesty. Why must you cling to events from 20 years ago? Have you feigned your affection for me all these years?" The emperor's expression darkened. "You know I cherish you. Do you not believe a sovereign has a heart? Over the years, you continued correspondence with that man through the Anping Marquis, treating me as a fool?" Yan Guifei stood frozen, murmuring, "You know of this too? What did you do to him after he severed ties with me?" The emperor remained silent, but Yan Guifei had already gleaned the truth. She, in despair, exclaimed, "Had it not been for that imperial decree forcing me into the palace, I would have married the man I loved long ago." Yan Guifei even cast a glance at me, her words tumbling out. "Had it not been for the decree, I would have been with my beloved, soaring together." Cao Ning. Today's events were surely orchestrated between you and the emperor. You two married a man you do not love. Why can you not empathize with my plight? The emperor's face darkened, and even Yan Hongqing was taken aback by Yan Guifei's indiscretion, anxious to silence her. Yet, spoiled by her status, Yan Guifei remained oblivious, despondently stating, "The emperor has killed Lu Lang. I no longer wish to live." After 20 years of unbroken favor, who could fathom the bitterness within? It would be better to marry a commoner and lead a simple life. The emperor, enraged, declared, "If you perceive my affection as an insult, then you need not remain as empress. The Yan family shall be reduced to commoners, serving in the laundry house." Yan Hongqing, you need not consider who will inherit the title. You have committed the heinous crime of murdering your own daughter, deserving of execution for your crimes. Upon hearing this, Yan Hongqing appeared struck by lightning, his eyes wide with disbelief as he gazed at the emperor, his lips trembling, yet unable to utter a word. He understood all too well that this time there would be no opportunity for redemption. Yan Guifei, too, felt as though she had fallen into an icy abyss. Trembling all over, her once beautiful face contorted with despair. She glared at the emperor, her eyes reflecting anger, resentment, and profound hopelessness. Suddenly, she burst into a chilling, desperate laughter that echoed throughout the hall, shattering the hearts of those who heard it. "Ha ha ha, your Majesty, how cruel you are. I once believed you could understand and pity me, yet now it appears you are just as cold and calculating as all other men, merely weighing benefits." The emperor's brow furrowed, a flicker of pain crossing his gaze, quickly replaced by steely resolve. He left a decree for Yan Hongqing and me to separate. Turning to lead Yan Jiehua away, the guards immediately moved to escort Yan Hongqing, who turned to me, pleading, "Ninger, please speak a kind word to the emperor. We have been married for 20 years. How can you bear to?" I signaled for the guards to silence him, and the area became significantly quieter. Only Yan Ping and Yan Lin remained, and I stepped outside. Yan Lin's voice was hoarse, "Mother, where are you going?" I did not respond, casting one last glance at the square marquise. The celebratory decorations within the marquise had yet to be removed, and the newly renovated courtyard exuded the opulence befitting a noble house. Yet after today, the once glorious Anping marquise would surely crumble. I returned to my family home. Although it was not as lavish as the Marquise, it was a spacious estate that once belonged to a third-rank official in the capital. But now, it stood empty, the steps before the door covered in moss. The courtyard felt deep and echoing, the sound of footsteps on the branches reverberating in the desolate yard, where I could almost hear the laughter of childhood. As I stepped out of that courtyard once more, it was a crisp autumn afternoon. I ventured into the bustling market, where a throng had gathered, all waiting to witness the execution of the prisoners. Word had it that among them was the former Anping Marquis. No one knew what crime he had committed. How is it possible? Who does not know that the Marquis' sister was the most favored in the palace? I stood amidst the crowd, my gaze piercing through the sea of heads until it landed on Yan Hongqing, bound and kneeling on the execution platform. His head hung low, hair disheveled, his once vibrant spirit replaced by sheer terror and despair. Occasionally, his eyes would lift, scanning the crowd as if searching for something, only to fall back down in resignation. What favored status? The Yan family was now reduced to a laundry maid, having offended many in the palace. And now anyone could trample upon her. Alas, how splendidly the Anping Marquis has fallen. Do you know that the once notorious ruffian Yan Ping from Pingkong Fong is actually the Marquis' illegitimate son? After being recognized, he grew increasingly brazen and has now ended up in prison. With the executioner's order, the blade was raised high. A flash of cold light followed by the heavy thud of the blade falling, accompanied by gasps and sighs from the crowd. The head of Yan Hongqing fell with a resounding thud, blood splattering across the execution platform, staining it crimson. As the crowd grew weary of the spectacle, they began to disperse. In days gone by, I had witnessed the brutal demise of my daughter in her swaddling clothes. Today, I bore witness to the severed head of Yan Hongqing. It could be said that retribution had come full circle. Upon leaving the bustling market, Yan Lin awaited me at the entrance of a secluded street. He appeared considerably more gaunt. Though still an 18-year-old youth, the vitality of his former self had utterly vanished. The officials had appointed me as the governor of Lingnan, a gesture of promotion, for which I must express my gratitude to my mother for her nurturing over the years. Although the position of governor is somewhat elevated compared to that of my contemporaries who passed the imperial examination, Lingnan is an exceedingly remote and barbaric land. Were it not for these circumstances, he could have navigated his way to the rank of Grand Minister without incident. Yet, fate has its own designs. This is the carriage my mother requested. Shall I escort you one last time? I inquired. No need for that. Lingnan is rife with miasma and malaria. This is the tonic I have procured for your health. I cannot ascertain its efficacy. Yan Lin accepted the medicine from my hand, a glimmer of moisture flickering in his eyes. Just as he was about to speak, I had already boarded the carriage. As we part ways. The mountains are high and the waters deep, and the affairs of the world are ever-changing. Yet, your mother has always taken pride in you. As you embark on your official career, remember to serve your office diligently and benefit the people, lest you become like your father. Seeing him nod in acknowledgement brought me solace as I gently lowered the curtain of the sedan chair. As the carriage made its way toward the outskirts of the city, it came to a halt, and a tall, elegant figure appeared outside the curtain. Chu Xiang stood there, infused with the fresh scent of earth and grass, evidently having waited for a considerable time. You have arrived. Indeed, I have. In that moment, we exchanged silence, as if striving to peer through the veil of 2 decades spent apart. 20 years prior, Chu Xiang and I had stood in this very spot. Back then, my father, with his steadfast nature, was continuously suppressed by the elderly Duke Anping in the court. Ultimately, he resolved to mitigate tensions through marriage. The Duke, believing himself to hold all the advantages, and with his wayward son Yan Hongqing lacking interest in suitable noblewomen, surprisingly consented to the union. However, at that time, Chu Xiang and I were already deeply in love, and we had plotted to elope. Our plans had been meticulously laid, yet, when the moment came to leave the capital, I faltered. I said, I cannot depart. If I do not face this fiery hearth, someone must take my place. Yan Hongqing bore no affection for me, yet I was, after all, the young mistress of the Duke's household. I envisioned a life of merely supporting my husband and raising children in tranquility. And so it transpired. I turned a blind eye to Yan Hongqing's mistresses, and if he truly wished to bring someone into our home, I thought it of little consequence. provided the old duke and the esteemed Yen Guifei forbade him from taking concubines. Under the urging of my in-laws, I soon became pregnant. During that time, I often caressed my burgeoning belly, repeatedly hypnotizing myself to forget Chu Xiang. In my 7th month of pregnancy, my father fell victim to the wrath of the former emperor due to the revolutionary faction's provocations, landing him in prison. I later discovered that Yan Hongcheng had a hand in this, exploiting my father's trust owing to our familial ties. I spent countless nights weeping, while Yan Hongcheng reveled in the brothels. When I gave birth, Yan Hongcheng was unusually attentive, waiting outside the delivery room. I assumed it was the anxiety of a first-time father. It was not until he secretly brought in a male infant that I realized the extent of his machinations. He exhaled in relief upon seeing my newborn daughter, saying, "Thank heavens it's a girl. It would be no loss to strangle her." In that moment, I understood that even my pregnancy had been a carefully orchestrated scheme, for Yan Hongcheng's elder sister was already with child, preparing to enter the palace. After he swapped the children, a midwife bribed by Lin Wanwan stealthily took away Yan Ping. I spent a fortune to ensure that all those involved remained silent. Before me, Chu Xiang waved his long, slender hand. "What are you pondering? The boat has arrived." On the shore, a gentle breeze dispersed the rippling waves, as countless sails passed by the sunken vessel. The tale concludes here. Thank you for listening, and until we meet again for the next story.